Yo, 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 yo. You're tuned into the Hubcast. This is a podcast. This is a show. This is an episode. I don't know which one it is. Maybe it's a manic episode on my behalf. I think it's episode maybe 19. I'm here with a man that I know, or I've known as El Guapo. I've heard you no longer go by that no more. That's all right. We'll get to that. I know him as an artist, as a dope rapper. I know him as a fellow father. I know him to be a man of God. Thank you for being here, J Aldana.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What's up, my man?
Hey,
It's an honor. It's an honor to be here, and be able to come together, man, and just brainstorm it. Brainstorm it and go off the top, man.
Oh God, let's get it. So I want to know. Is there anything else that you would that I maybe missed on the intro that you would maybe want to be known for, like artist, rapper, anything else like that you do that you would want to put out there?
As far as music goes, or just anything in general?
Anything in general.
Oh man, obviously, man, always trying to be effective in the community some way, somehow. Always trying to work with you some way, somehow. So definitely, an individual that's out to be purposeful for the community.
A provider and a creative.
That's right. That's right.
Okay, so what got you interested in music? Like, what was some of the first artists that you remember listening to where you're like, this is dope? And who put you on to those artists?
Man, I would say it started off back in man, I was maybe like 8-9 years old, growing up in East Village area, Commercial Park, messing with an individual instructed by the name of John Davison.
And where is that for people who don't
know? Commercial Park is a park district, and just was being involved as a kid in the park district, and they were just trying to get the best out of kids. And John Davison happened to be the instructor, and during the time we did a lot of gym shows and talent shows and things like that. And that's when music really started to resonate with me and became a passion because, man, I happened to have certain type of talents I feel at the time and gifts.
So you did those talent shows?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
How old were you?
I was about 8-9 years old at the time.
Were you writing your own stuff? Were you
No. We were doing more of a lip singing type of performances.
Yeah.
Man, I debuted in doing El Cool J, I Need Love at the time. So it definitely
you were mouthing those words good, dude.
Yeah. You were like, I'm alone in my room. Sometimes I stare at the walls. So but LL was definitely that was the first tape I ever had was LL Cool J, I'm Bad.
Wow.
So LL was definitely
go ahead.
Was a big part of music for me at that time, and obviously because of the gym show. So a lot of that stuff kind of started at around that time, but I was dancing as well too. I was doing a lot of b-boy stuff at the time. So the elements and the arts and the craft and the graffiti and all of that started to obviously be a part of my lifestyle growing up, from that time, so Commercial Park was definitely a spark because of the ability and the opportunity to be able to get the best out of you, who you were, as a kid, right. And so it wasn't only about developing your sports skills and stuff like that, but he was doing gym shows where we were doing all kinds of stuff with like Curtis Blow and things like that. So those were some old school stuff that we was kind of vibing with for sure.
Yeah, see a lot of people my age, if you were to say LL Cool J, like they wouldn't know who that is really. Maybe they would have like heard the name, kind of like me. Like I've heard the name. I've actually heard some songs because I got into like hip hop and like digging. You know what I mean?
Right.
But most people my age wouldn't know who that is.
Yeah.
Could you think of any artist that maybe LL Cool J had inspired that someone from my generation would know? I could think of one right off the bat.
Who you talking about?
Eminem.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I mean, Eminem definitely is another artist, man. I mean, there's so many, man. I mean, I don't, and you know what? The thing about me having a passion for music, man, that it's just not with hip hop, or rap or drill. You know what I mean? I want to be able to create, across the board. You know, I want to be able to be creative with the music. So
Versatile.
it's exactly. So it's been a lot. You know, you got Hector
Yeah.
Lavoe, salsa. You know, and these are probably guys you're like, wait, whoa. So, but you know, it's just. I mean, I can go back to Smokey Robinson. I can go back to the Temptations. I can go back to, you know, Richie Valens. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just so
It's
much
just music in general.
Music.
So what is so? Some people will be like, I don't like country or I don't like rap music, but you you could break the genre barrier and hear good music for what's good music. What do you think about it? What is it about a song that makes it great to you?
A combination of obviously, you know, voice, I would say, you know, delivery, you know, and obviously writing, you know, those things, you know, they all play factors in music. You know, I believe at times that there's beats that I may not be able to get off on as well as the others, but as an artist, you know, you try to dig deep as far as you can, especially, you know, if that's something that you want to write to. So being creative, man, you know, where does that creativity come from? So you gotta be a student of the game in order for you to be a teacher of the game, almost in a sense, right?
Right. It's like, because, you know, I make music as well.
Yes, sir.
For those who don't know, like, I don't really promote my music on here. You know, I'm Anthony on the podcast.
That's right.
I'm Spicasso, and you know, in the music
and
thing.
a dope ass Jedi on the engineer too. So my man is very gifted. So
thank you. You are too, man. This is about you here today, though.
Thank you.
But man, what was I gonna say? You know, I forget. So let's just spark this blunt.
Yes, sir.
And let's get on with the conversation. I do want to know. So you got used to being on stage. Was it people at the talent show that would go? Like, it was a decent audience.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I hope. Let me get this right. Absolutely, man. I mean, man, we were generating crowds maybe 200-300 people in a gym, you know, and sometimes these gym shows were getting sold out, man. And these were competitive. Hey. The thing about these gym shows, man, that they were competitive gym shows. So it was kind of like, hey, your park district against my park district, and our competition was Holstein Park.
Where are these park districts located? So
Chicago, inner city Chicago, okay. Like so.
West Side,
Commercial Park.
You're from West Side, right? Humble.
I grew up in the East Village side. I grew up around the Chicago Avenue, Honorary area, gotcha. Iowa area, and I was young. I think I was there till like I was about 10 years old, and then I ended up moving to the Humboldt Park community around the age of 10.
Yeah.
And you know, obviously, kind of started drifting away from the park district as I started getting older. But yeah, I definitely grew up in that area, and you know, we would compete against other parks like Holstein, Smith Park. You know, these are for those that are out there that get an opportunity to hear.
Did you guys ever win?
Huh?
Did you guys ever win?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And
how did it make you feel like being on stage in front of at such a young age, at 8 years old? You know, some kids would piss their fucking pants. You know what I mean? Were you comfortable? Were you anxious? How did you feel when you were up there? You know,
I wanted it, man, because, you know, John Davison saw a talent. And so if he saw a talent, you know, he was making sure that he was going to put it up there, you know, and he was going to put it in the top act. So it was a blessing, man. I happened to be in some of the top routines that were like the main attractions at the end of the night, you know, which were Motown routines. So, you know, at that time, man, I was already fascinated with, you know, My Girl was part of the mix, the Tracks of My Tears, which is by Smokey Robinson as well, you know, and man, he was a DJ and
would you believe it that I don't know who Smokey Robinson is?
So,
dude?
I mean, these are old school artists.
I'm
man.
sorry. I know I'm.
You got some homework.
You got some.
But these are, you know, they're just musicians, man. These just people that were inspirational, man. And you know, obviously being able to kind of dance Motown, and obviously I'm at a different age group, you know what I mean, but still feel great, you know. I still feel like I have a lot to offer as far as when it comes to the music. It's something that I ended up bearing for a long time, And man, now I want to be able to do what I love, and so anytime you ain't living life fully and doing the things that you love, then man, you might be doing it wrong. What's the purpose of you living your life without purpose, first and foremost, you know what I mean? But without being able to do what it is that you love. So always find what you love to do, man, and go at it at 100%. If you don't know how to do it, then figure out. You got to learn. Everything takes repetition. Everything takes consistency and discipline, and those characteristics are always difficult to cultivate in, but they're a must, and then let's let God, continue to be fruitful in your life and however he desires to, want you to prosper, you know what I mean, at the end of the day, because I mean, that's just how the ball rolls, I feel, and I think that's where my faith starts to come in. And, I don't want to get all hyper religious because that's not who I am, but I'm definitely an individual that does believe, and I believe that he has given me abilities and gifts, and I want to go ahead and keep running with them, so yeah, absolutely.
I feel like a lot of people need to hear that, especially young people, you know what I mean? You get thrown into school.
Yeah.
And, school isn't what what's the guy's name that you mentioned?
Smokey Robinson?
No. The guy that put you on.
John Davidson. He was a park instructor.
What he's doing for kids is the opposite of what school, kind of does for kids. Right. For the most part. School, you get put in a system, and it's a lot of busy work. Everybody's doing the same thing. It's all formulaic. They're trying to school is for the most part is for people that work at McDonald's. That's what they want. You know what I mean? That's what I believe anyways.
Right.
But what that guy was doing for you and for kids was cultivating what he already seen, what their natural, talents were, or what, anything that they lean toward that they happen to be good at.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So,
and which is important to him, and which is, I think, is important.
Yeah.
I think it's something that's very essential. I think that we need to be able to find out the gifts in individuals, because there's individuals that have multiple talents. They're just not talented in one area. Mm-hmm. And so understanding how to cultivate those things it's something that we need to really focus on as parents, as a father. And I think that that's where the father area that you're talking about comes in for me, man. Have I been the greatest dad? Probably not, but you know what I mean? I do cultivate towards it, you know what I mean? And I do desire to be a father and play that role and play it as the best of my ability,
Mm-hmm. Father to how many?
3 children, two boys and 1 girl, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I became a father at a very young age.
How old?
About 18 years old, I became a stepfather. 19 years old, I became a stepfather, and cultivated towards that and worked that out, the best I could, man, trying to grow.
How's your relationship with your kids?
Tough, truly tough, man. I would say it's tough because fatherhood is not easy, man. Cultivating and communication with your children and being able to communicate things that you may have an understanding of and trying to pass it down sometimes can go 2 ways. They can receive it well, or they can feel like, you know what, Dad, you're being too much of a lecturer, mm-hmm. You're lecturing me too much, and, your voice repetitive in the house, after a while becomes like a sounding symbol to them, and so it's like annoying, you know what I mean? And so the response is not the one that you're going to get. But see, in life too, you also have to understand that every individual is going to walk their own path. Mm-hmm. Every man walks his own path. If I continue to bring my son almost in a sense to the knowledge and an understanding that I may feel that I have, it may not be instilled into him right there, but some way, somehow,
but you planted seeds.
You're planting seeds, later on in life, he's still got to walk his own path. Mm-hmm. He still got to maneuver in certain ways for him to be able to get understanding and clarity for his life, for him to know who he is, mm-hmm. But we have to come alongside him as well in a partnership and not almost in a sense try to dictate those roles. Like, hey man, I've been very passionate about the arts. I'm athletic, you know, I work out, you know, I carry those disciplines, you know what I'm saying? And so you desire to pass those things down to your children, but they may not desire those things. You know what I mean? So what am I supposed to do? You know, continue to hammer him down until, you know what I mean, until he gets it? Or do you say, hey, no, man, you know what? Walk your own path, take your own steps. As you're walking through them, I'm going to tell you, hey, this is wrong, man. Don't do this. You're going to get burned. You know, but still let you go ahead and walk it, so that way you could get burned on yourself. You have to learn
the hard way sometimes.
You got to get burned.
Yeah, see, as parents, and I feel like I understand this now being a parent, you know what I mean? But we always want for our kids to learn the easy way, which is just by, you know, us telling them, like, hey, this is how it is. Maybe you shouldn't do that. Maybe you shouldn't go and touch that fire over there. Right. You know what I mean?
Right.
But sometimes, you know, curiosity gets to them and they bite the fucking apple.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
That's
a great analogy.
Yeah. So it's like kids are they're always testing their boundaries, you know what I mean? And
they will continue to until we're at this age. We continue to challenge.
Yeah.
We continue to, you know, like you said, you know, challenge those boundaries of what we can pass, despite that we know what's right and wrong. You know what I'm saying? We have a knowledge. I think all of us consciously have an understanding, you know, and at times, you know, we don't desire to apply that knowledge that we have. You know what I'm saying? Because we want to do whatever we desire. Sometimes
I think a lot of people are on like autopilot almost. Yeah. It's like they always keep themselves busy. Always, like, literally, like, anytime that they have like time to think, they're on Instagram or they're on TikTok. Yeah. Like, they're just always doing something. They never really got time to like sit there and be introspective. You know what I mean? Yeah. And even kids, you know, they avoid that as well, you know. Definitely, like I did. So when did you feel like you became like conscious? Like, were you always conscious as a kid, or did at some point, like, I don't know, did you maybe get high one day and you were like, oh shit, I exist, man? Whoa.
Man, I think you know what's crazy? No, what's crazy is, man, like, you know, no, that's a phenomenal question, man, because I believe that you need to understand illumination in your life. I believe that you need to understand who, you know, your conscience, and you understand why you were created with that conscience, and what are you called to portray. Right. Understanding that mindset, right?
Yeah, this is a question that always got to me. It's like, okay, you know, I'm me. You're J Aldana, right? Am I saying it right?
Yes,
Aldana?
sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
That's Fofo over there. Okay, why am I me?
Right.
And I'm not you.
Right.
Why am I me and I'm not Fofo?
Right.
You know, why am I me? Why am I in the United States and I'm not in China? Why in 2001 was I born and not fucking 1600s? You know what I mean? Like, why is it? Why? Like that always got to me. You know, I always been just trying to figure that out. Like, is it random?
Yeah. I think those questions are all great. I think we need to question, because it says this, right? Like, you come outside every single day and you look around and you know that there's something almost in a sense outside of yourself. Because you look at the sky, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You look, you know, outside of you know, I would say like this, right? Intelligent design, right? You see houses, you see buildings, you see cars, you know, you see pumps, lights, all these different things, right? But they were intelligent designed by a human being.
Everything in this room right now
was intelligently designed by either an individual as you or myself, right? Mm-hmm. Or him or Fo,
or a combination of people.
Or a combination of people, right? But then there's outside of that, because before, if you start to backtrack, if we start to just say, hey, go back to tomorrow, go back 15 years, go back 20, 50, let's go back 100,000 years or 2,000 years, whatever people may claim to be the years that this world has existed. At one time, there wasn't nothing but a body of water and a bunch of like just trees and you know what I mean? Yeah. Forest preserves. So there was no, you know what I'm saying? So there had to be some type of intelligent design for this to almost come about. So that's why I would say
this is because if you we'll get back to that question when I feel like you became conscious.
Yeah,
we'll get back to that. I do want to say though, when like most atheists, like you find that they believe in like the Big Bang Theory.
Right.
All right. So you have things in this world that are accidents, and you have things in this world that are intelligent design.
Right.
You know what I mean? What are accidents? Like fucking car accidents. You have explosions. It's all chaotic, and nothing but destruction comes out of that. You know what I mean? So these people believe in a Big Bang, that a bang happened out of nothing, which is the first time in the universe that has ever happened, to get something out of nothing. Okay, sure. But then that the explosion somehow led to Chick-fil-A and Starbucks and these fucking microphones and us two having an intelligent conversation.
I would say, is that logical? Does that sound logical? For some people,
to me.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying. So like for some people, it sounds logical because that's what they desire. Like, so thinking about it sometimes, right? Like we were talking about that, like the heart, they say, hey man, follow your heart, you know? And then others say, man, don't follow your heart because your heart's deceitful. So which one is it? You know what I'm saying? Should I follow my heart or I should not follow my heart? Right? And so at times we do follow our heart. Why? Because we have free will and we desire to maneuver. Every man walks his own path, right? We desire to maneuver in whatever direction we want. And despite that it may be beneficial for us or it may not be, because it may be permissible, but it may not be beneficial for us to walk that direction. So, and through that situation, you're going to obviously come across whatever it is that you need to come across to get you to that place where you're going to come to that realization of that conscience that you have. So I would say this: you were created in an image of God to portray God's image. What does that look like? What attributes do we desire to see in mankind? We desire to see gentleness, kindness, self-control, brotherly love. Yeah,
the fruits of the fucking spirit. You was just naming all the fruits of the spirit. Like I don't know them, bro.
Yeah,
fucking like kindness, patience,
that's right.
Gentleness.
You know what I mean? Love is not self-seeking. So these things. So like Christ-like. So if these are the things that we desire to see in other people, because remember, people always say, "Hey, man, everybody has a standard of, hey, if you love me first, then I'll love you." But that's not love. Love is more of you saying, I'm going to give of myself, because if we talk about what's love, you're going to say love is kindness. Love does not self-seek itself. You know what I'm saying? It does not boast. It does not envy. You know what I mean? So if that's what love is, then why are you sitting here waiting for someone to meet that first before you're called to meet it? So you're cultivating in your lifestyle already in a wrong way. Like,
yeah, those are the.
So that's you
kind of operating like a mosquito in a way.
Yeah.
But maybe I shouldn't say that. My late friend Jan, rest in peace. He always said that love is the willingness to suffer for somebody else's relief. So,
yeah, and it is because remember, like you said, everybody desires to feel love. So Jan felt, hey man, I'll die for you, and I'm gonna show you that I'm gonna die for you. Like, die is crazy, right? The word die is like, bro, like who knows how you're gonna react if a situation happened that way. But how many stories you hear about people at times, and they're not very common. It's that they were heroic, or they were here, or they sacrificed themselves in a fire to make sure that they, you know what I mean? These people,
the hero's journey, every fucking popular story or film or something that's passed down, it's always something that has the you heard of the hero's journey, right? It's like
somebody's giving of themselves, and somebody's dying of themselves to give of themselves for a purpose, for someone, for
a higher purpose for everybody.
And he's going outside of himself, like he's dying to himself. Yeah. To show this characteristic, not sitting there waiting for somebody to be heroic to him. Like you get
Right.
sorry, let me
Right.
stop
No,
getting
you're
hyped
good.
up. Like
You're good.
you know what I'm saying? Like to be heroic for him. Like that's not love. And in our time, and especially in our society, and even I'll be the first one to raise my hand to say, have I lived those things to the best of my to the best of my knowledge? Absolutely not. You know, but at the same time too, I don't want to justify behavior, because then we don't grow from justified behavior, because then we just continue to justify it. We need to take responsibility, and I need to be one of those individuals. So when we go back to talking about, man, what are the different things that you do, and what are the, besides music, and why music like this, and yet you desire to be this way, and because music is music. Music is to be created, and being purposeful is to be purposeful. So just because I talk about something, you know what I'm saying, or you know, and don't get me wrong, I think that this is something that is across the board too when it comes to music. When people say, hey man, have you lived this? Have you lived that? I mean, if you want to go do the background check, go make the background check. I want to make music for the people. I want to create music. I'm not here to say, you know, fuck dude from the south side, or fuck this dude from the north side, or he does this or he does that. You know, I don't know, man. I'm on a different level of wanting to be creative with music. I want to make music that people bob their heads on. I want to give you that bop shit. I want to give you that R&B shit. I want to give you hip hop. I want to collaborate with, you know what I'm saying? I want Casso, and you know, I want to do all these different things. So I want to make music that people gonna feel, and whether it's a sad song, whether it's an up song, whether it's a salsa merengue, with a reggaeton tumbao song, then let's move. Like, you know what I'm saying? Let's get it, you know? And so, and for those that want to support me and show me love, like you showing me love, then, you know, let's move. I just want to make music, you know.
Where can
and
people find you?
Man, people can find me on Facebook at, you know, Jose J Aldana. You can find me on Instagram on, you know, J Aldana Music, you know, El Guapo Aldana Music as well, you know. Is a name that I started off with.
Why the name change?
That's a great question.
El Guapo, dude, that dude. I always called you that to everybody.
Yeah, man. I went with El Guapo for the reason, you know, El Guapo was a bad guy in a old school comedy movie, and you know,
damn,
so that's where I actually
know the origin.
So that's where I actually got it from, man. I actually got El Guapo from a movie called The Three Amigos with Charlie Sheen and a couple of those other characters. But El Guapo was the bad guy, you know. He was the bad guy in the thing, and so, you know, I done felt that throughout my life, you know what I'm saying? I've been in situations where I was labeled the bad guy and I wasn't, you know what I'm saying? I was just almost, in a sense, trying to stick up for myself. But that's a whole nother story. But, you know, I took it because of that. I took it because, you know, I feel like, you know what I'm saying? I'm you know, like my man Peso Pluma says, you know, he says, you know, yo me cuido you know, mi cuero, you know what I'm saying? Me cuido mi cuerpo, and you know, I take care of myself, and you know what I'm saying? And I feel that I could be confident in who I am as a man, because not only do I feel like I may have a physical appearance, but at the same time too, you know, I cultivate towards my manhood that'll make me possibly all those characteristics, bad, good, you know, El Guapo and the whole nine. So yeah, but the reason why I changed it was because I just want to simplify who I am. I you know what I mean? Just known as, you know, the last name is my mom's last name, so I'm using my mom's last name, and obviously my name is Jay, and so you know, definitely just said, man, J Aldana, you know, and I want to represent my mom to the fullest, first and foremost, because obviously she's a huge pillar in my life, just based upon who she was as a woman and how she had to endure as a single woman in the inner cities of Chicago, not knowing English, and, you know, still making life feel like, you know, like you wasn't really missing much of shit, you know what I mean? And she always reminds me of that shit. So, you know, when I have my down moments, that's always, you know, so shout out to the OG, you know what I mean?
So would you say, who was the first, so, you gave what your definition of what you think love is. Who is maybe like the first person to show you that type of love? Would you say it was your mother?
Nah.
No?
Nah. Sounds crazy, right?
Who?
Nah.
Mine's not.
Nah, mine ain't neither. I would say this, and I think that this will answer the question back to when you said, "Hey, man, when did you feel that you was consciously in tune?" You know what I'm saying, especially with your faith. I would say in 2000. You know what I'm saying. I had just lost a friend in front of my wife's porch, man. Billy, rest in peace, man. Took 17 shots to his back on my ex-wife's porch, man, and I think that after that, me being incarcerated as well, catching a case, for drugs and assault on authority and whatever. I think that coming out of jail and then witnessing that was a period in a time of my life where I think God was gonna say, it's time for you to find out who I am. And it wasn't that nobody was preaching to me, because I hated God. We used to, push Christians out the neighborhood where I grew up at times. So at the time, I after getting out of prison, I was making a certain amount of money. I'm gonna just tell this story real quick because I think it's dope. But I wanted to become a male stripper, and I really wanted to dance and make the kind of money that I was making in the street. But
you could do it. You could still do it,
But no, I'm not going the stripper route. But at the time, that's where I wanted to go, and God kind of just put a real like hardcore blockage and gave me a desire, and that was when He said, "You want to find out who I am?"
Yeah, I'm really happy God did that.
Yeah, and so
you didn't go the stripper route.
Yeah.
Dude. Well, that's if I first seen you with like a fucking like leotard on, like,
a Speedo.
I don't know.
Man, I ain't never saw myself in a Speedo trying to be a bodybuilder, so I was definitely not gonna be, But no, it was crazy because I ran into my guy, and he was just making this crazy money, man, stripping, and he was like, "Man, I'm doing this and I'm doing that, man," and man, I saw it in his car and the way he was dressing, so I was like, shit, and that's a no-brainer. Like, that's a no-brainer. I could dance, that's not gonna be too difficult. But like I said, man, go back into the question, when did you get consciously in tune? I think that's when God began to illuminate me and draw me and give me clarity on who I was as an individual, why I was created as a man, and that was the first time I ever experienced love. And I would say that I think it was because of the genuine repenting lifestyle that I began to develop from that point on, and it was that I knew that I was an individual that was imperfect, and that I was definitely going to need something that was outside of me that was going to definitely hold me down and give me the joy and the peace in life that nothing in this world can offer. You know what I'm saying? And so, that's why I have this great quote that says, "Man, don't allow your happiness to depend on anything you may lose, because in this world you lose everything." You know what I mean? And so, but one thing you ain't gonna lose is the gift of salvation and what Jesus did, obviously on the cross. So that's one thing that I will never doubt. But God's still working on me, just like everybody else be saying. And I'm not trying to be everybody, but definitely, man, I gotta give a shout out to Christ for sure, man, for what He did for us on the cross.
So you would say it was through one of the darkest moments in your life when you felt the most love?
Yeah, man, because I felt the peace of knowing that, you know what I'm saying, now my peace was not going to be, my peace and my joy wasn't going to come in anything that I can attain in this world, or, because I've already did well for myself financially, my kids never needed anything, you know what I'm saying? And still to this day, you know what I'm saying? They don't need anything, you know what I mean? And so, like, not to say that I'm this dude that, but, despite that, I've had background. I mean, you know what I'm saying? 23 years of cultivating in a whole different lifestyle. I've never been detained by the police again. I've never caught another case, and being a Class X felon, those are some challenges that a lot of men don't know how to face because they revert back to a certain lifestyle. And I would say that, if I would have probably tried to, probably deal with life on my own and gone the stripper way, who knows where I would be, you know. So to be able to leave all the music, because I also did drop music back in 98 and 99 with a group called Natural Causes. So shout out to Foremost the Mortician and Ken Wood the rapper. We did a lot of shows. I already performed at the Sub T. I already performed at the Double Door. I already done open up for 50 Cent. I already done did things like that, you know. So, you know, at an age, so there's not anything that I'm talking here that won't get backed up from none of them people that are still DJing in them places, you know, and they remember that name and they remember Two Man Enter the song. And so, you know, it's old school Chicago shit, man. But so I definitely been representing for a while, but like I said, man, I left the microphone and the music because I became a father, you know what I'm saying? And I was a husband at the time, and I was raising 3 kids and a stepson. So I was raising 4 children.
I relate to you.
know?
I mean, I only have 1 child, but
So,
I kind of had to slow down with the music and that type of lifestyle, you know.
Yeah.
Just to really be present for my daughter.
Absolutely. And because because that's what love does. And that'll give you an example. Say, hey, I sacrificed all my gifts and my things that I desire to pursue to show you that, hey, you know what, to me, my priority, you know what I'm saying, is my family first and foremost. You know what I mean? And only God was able to give me that strength, because I didn't desire materialistic things no more, man. I had things, so I didn't desire those things no more. I desired to learn those attributes that we were speaking about. You know, my prayers were of adoration and praise and worship to God, and asking for, hey man, you know, give me the ability to be patient and kind and loving and self-control. And some of those things I've gotten away from, man, and but they're engraved in my heart. So you know what I mean, you do certain things and you're like, man, God forgive me, you know, type things like that. So you're always on that thing, because you do have this separation still that holds you away from God. That's why, you know, you're saved by grace through faith alone. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing that you can do to attain the gift of salvation. You know, there's nothing that you can do. And so, you know, knowing that freedom and having that freedom, God says, hey man, in all things you do, man, do them to my glory. Whether you eat or you drink or whatever you do, do it to my name.
Without God, in the situation that you were in, where you, I can maybe tell by the way you were saying that maybe you felt like everything that is here materially, it will fade away one day, and you can't count on it and you can't depend on it. That's how you were feeling in those moments, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So without God, without some idea of something outside of this, what do you think most people would do in your shoes without God?
Man, they'll continue to revert into the things that fulfill their desires. You know, for some people is money, lust, you know what I mean? Like there's so many things that draw us, you know what I mean? And if we want to be real about it, like, you know what I mean? That's the thing. You can sit here and hide all you want, you know what I'm saying? But you know what you're dealing with. You know when you're feeling sorrow. You know when you feel without. You know when you're feeling those moments, you know, that you have to go through trial and tribulation. You know, people say, man, money makes all things better. You know what I'm saying? That's what you think. You know what I'm saying? But it don't. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you could travel and brush it off, but how many times more are you gonna keep traveling? That stuff starts to get boring. It's like you buy a brand new car, you wash that motherfucker for like, you know what I'm saying? I bought a new car, put rims on my shit. I was washing that motherfucker like every other day.
Hey, man, I heard somebody say this though. I heard
for like 2 weeks, and then before you knew, I was just like, man, you know, fuck this car. It's not even like that no more. The joy, it's like buying new Jordans, buying new outfit. That's why people steadily have to continue to keep up with the Joneses to almost, in a sense, feel like their life is being fulfilled. Like, man, if you don't, like, that's the wrong perception, though. That's a fucked up perception.
But
there's no peace in that shit.
I heard somebody say this. I don't remember who said it, but they were like, man, I don't know if I'm like really depressed until I get the bag, though. You know what I mean? Like once I get the bag, and then like I'm able to do whatever I want, and then the depression kicks in, then I'll know I'm really depressed. But I don't know until I get that bag.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like it's a lot of people's like actual mindsets, dude.
Yeah.
I think like a comedian said that or whatever.
Yeah.
He's trying to be funny, but it's real.
Yeah. I mean, I think we all want to be in a place in life where we can be able to live comfortably and, you know, enjoy the things in life. But you're never gonna stop working.
Yeah.
You know, you're never gonna stop working some way, somehow. Listen, you know what I mean? That's just the reality, man. You give me $30 million. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm dealing with $30 million worth of work. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Why? Well, maybe I'm at the crib, but everybody's calling me. This, that, pull this way. Hey, man, you know, when people know you got something, they're gonna come. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So
that's like taking out a goddamn
it's work
in
dog.
High school.
It's work.
Like you guys didn't have that back in the day, man. You guys didn't have vapes in high school and stuff. Like everybody,
but we had blunts. Smoking. Like, we had blunts all day long and joints.
That's something we can relate on. Like when someone pulled out a blunt, did not 20 people come and hit the blunt at least one time, and it was gone.
Right.
They flop. You know, when it's something that everybody wants, they come.
Right.
You know, and money
is the same thing.
The you know, the Federal Reserve and everybody who started that, you know, they made it our number one priority. They made it the means of how we get food, of how we get the things that we actually value. You know, we got to get to the bread first before we get any of that. So, you know, I think
that's the
I think money being our number one priority is fucking us as a society really bad.
Yeah, because it makes us dependent on it. You know what I'm saying? It makes us, you know, there's advantages to it, man. You know, and if you ain't got it, you're at the disadvantage. Yeah. You know, or if you don't know how to cultivate, I would say this though, man. I would say this. You live in a country that you have the opportunity to do a lot of shit. But the problem is that because we don't know how to cultivate half of the time, especially when you're coming from an urban area, or you come from, or you're second generation American, you know, your parents had certain jobs and they settled for that job and they made it happen with that job, you know, but they ain't never taught you how to cultivate in multiple ways, almost in a sense like you got a lot of individuals that do it now. Like now you don't got. Now people don't want to take no kind of jobs nowhere. We're living, man. Yeah. That's a whole nother story. Yeah. But you get what I mean. We're living in a whole different culture, bro. Like especially like with people rather work 3 jobs on the internet and make this money. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I would rather fucking do that than work for goddamn Amazon
and sit in a repetitive, robotic, systematic job. Yeah. I get it. I'm with you, man. You don't want to sit there and be doing this. Package.
Yeah.
That if you love doing that, then man, I'm not mad at you because you love it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Some people love it. Yeah. You know, some people love driving. Hey man, I love driving a forklift.
Dude, there's this,
you know what I'm saying?
This guy, Jose Cruz, that works at my job, dude. I don't know, bro. I always see him in the chat. I feel like he's always delivering packages. Like he works 8 days a week, bro. For Amazon, dude. I'm like, how the fuck are you doing that?
That nigga's working doubles.
Dude, but I'm like, how?
They gotta be counting, you know, half a 12-hour shift.
Like he's got a twin or something, and they're both going, dude. That
brother's in a whole nother world, dog, with the 8th day.
Dude. But I couldn't do that, dude. I could, you know, I just brought myself to like work just because I want the extra money, just like forcing myself to go doing it, even though I don't love doing it by any means, you know what I mean? Yeah. But I forced myself to go and do it just for the money, you know what I mean? I don't like that position that I'm in, so I'm trying to, you know, change that. But I'm trying to do it in a way that's moral, that's, you know, you know, I have a daughter. Yeah. You know?
Family, so, right. You have to function with...
I have a daughter and I have God. So I have God to worry about.
That's essential. You're cultivating to what's essential for your family. Mm-hmm. Just like, for example, like I was sharing, you know, when I gave up music, you know, in 2001, like cold turkey, like, you know, you're going to tell me that I don't have a desire and a passion for something that I feel that I'm totally gifted at? Like, you don't know the fight, but when you die of yourself, you know what I'm saying? It's because your family is essential to you. Yeah. So now it's not about you. Yeah. And that's great to have. Yeah. You know what I mean? But I also believe too that you have to cultivate towards a situation. And I'm not trying to say that the situation that anybody may be in is the wrong situation, because your partner is always going to help you grow, right? Your partner should always help you grow. And your partner should always help you grow in what it is that that you're gifted in, and not have to worry about anything else. But then also at the same time, we have to be responsible with what it is that we're trying to cultivate towards, because it may come with a lot. You know what I'm saying? Entertainment comes with a lot, and it comes with a lot of attention. It comes with a lot of, whatever, wherever you may get, you know what I'm saying? When it comes to music, I'm not saying that, hey, that may be in our cards. It may not be, but hey, man, at the end of the day, you're going to continue to do what you love, and you're going to put it out there for whoever want to hear it. And you're going to get them to do whatever they're going to do with it, but like I said, you're cultivating towards what it is that's essential for your life. You know what I'm saying? And so, I think that's why now that my kids are at a certain age, and I'm like at a certain age, I desire to be creative with music and be able to bring, as best music as I possibly can, because I love it. Not because I desire. If I ever have an opportunity where my music does it on its own, then great.
What's the best part of the process for you? Like, what do you love most about
all
the
of this
music?
right here? The opportunity that this creates, I've wanted to work with individuals that feel that they're supportive towards what I'm doing, and I'm supportive towards them at 100%. I'm not here to down what you're doing, and that's everybody in Chicago. Wherever you at, shit, I'm not here to down what you're doing. And I don't really, to be honest with you, not to disrespect any artist in Chicago, I don't really care what you're doing. But when you put it out, I'm gonna listen to it and I'm gonna love it, because that's who I am. You know what I'm saying? You don't really find a lot of motherfuckers like that, especially not in Chicago. It's almost in a sense like saying, hey, are you a White Sox fan or a Cubs fan? Nigga, I'm from fucking Chicago, nigga. We got two teams. We should be grateful we got two teams support. You know what I'm saying? Like, why am I gonna hate on another motherfucking team? We got two, man. There's motherfucking teams out there in another city. They ain't even got a fucking baseball team. You feel me? Go to Jacksonville, Florida, Duval. Shout out to them motherfuckers out there too, because they done shown me a lot of love. But you know what I mean? Like, they ain't got a fucking MLB baseball team. We got two of them motherfuckers, and you over here trying to talk about, and you fighting your own people from Chicago. Like, that's the dumbest shit that we always have to deal with.
But that's the shit that's just pushed down from the top. They always want the that left and right, that Democrat Republican, that the Cubs and Sox, the white or the black, the
red or the blue,
the Jew or the non-Jew.
Yeah. There's always got to be segregation, but that's the mindset that's been cultivated in us throughout time, and it's not good.
I just feel like they try to keep us thinking in this white and black type of mindset.
Yeah, but I think that when you, like you said, hey, when you're illuminated, when you say, or I wouldn't even say illuminated, because a lot of people may not understand that. A lot of
might be an Illuminati, dude.
Yeah, not Illuminati. Illuminated, I would say illumination. Obviously, Trinity, Father, Son, Holy Spirit. But that's we're getting in. That'll be a whole nother class. That'll be a Bible.
That's
study.
a discussion, because
yeah,
I don't know about the Trinity, bro.
Yeah.
We can get into that, but
yeah. So, but I would say that I would say this, right? There's illumination. Is like, you know what I'm saying? God draws you. God draws his people constantly, you know what I'm saying? And you know that there's a God, but because you desire to suppress the truth, you know what I'm saying? You desire to fulfill your desires on whatever it is that you feel. So you find whatever brings you comfort to say, this is what it is. So that's why you got people that don't believe in God. They believe in tarot reading. They believe in, you know what I'm saying, the Quran, and they believe everybody has a certain type of belief. They believe
in like instant gratification.
Exactly.
That's to sum all that tarot, whatever, all that up, black magic, whatever they're into. A lot of people into black magic, more than you would think. But
hey Siri, give me Romans 1:9. No, give me Romans 9:1.
He pulling up Romans 9:1. What's it say? We waiting on this Bible verse. Romans 9:1. What is it? I'm here with J Aldana. It's December 28th, 2023. How are you guys feeling? How are you doing? Are you doing good?
Give me 1 sec.
Shout out to all the single mothers out there. Shout out to all the single fathers out there. You know, I could tell if people are circumcised or not just by looking at them.
Listen to this shit.
What's Romans? Romans 9:1?
Romans, wait.
Say into the mic.
Romans 1:9. Romans 1. Wait, hold on 1 second. No, Romans 1:18. Wait, hold on 1 second. Let me not give you that wrong, man. Let me not quote this wrong because everybody gonna persecute me later. Romans 1.
Just make sure you say it into the mic.
Romans 1. Check this out. 18.
1:18.
For the wrath of God is revealed from heaven against all ungodliness and unrighteousness of men, who by their own unrighteousness suppress the truth. For what can be known about God is plain to them, because God has shown it to them. For his invisible attributes, namely his eternal power and divine nature, have been clearly perceived ever since the creation of the world and the things that have been made, so they are without excuse. For though they knew God,
I just read this shit.
they did not honor him as God or give thanks to him, but they became futile. Wait, let me say that right. Futile. That's right. Futile in their thinking, and their foolish hearts were darkened. Claiming to be wise, they became fools and exchanged the glory of the immortal God for images resembling mortal man and birds and animals and creeping things. Therefore God gave them up in the lust of their hearts to impurity, to dishonoring of their bodies among themselves, because they exchange the truth about God for a life and worship and served the creatures rather than the creator.
Right.
So as we were talking, I talked about people having desires for whatever it is that gonna be outside of what's true. What's that true? If you come before a holy God, you got a problem. People say all the time, hey, only God can judge me. Tupac. Don't get me wrong, man. You know, I love Tupac and his music. But Tupac said some bullshit. I ain't even gonna lie. Why? Well, because he got people saying, oh, only God could judge me. But then the reality is do you really want that problem? Because obviously you feeling somebody's judging you because you carried a certain type of behavior that wasn't honorable to God.
God is the last person I want judging me.
You feel what I'm saying? But did you just hear what I just said? Like, think about it. You know what I'm saying? Oh, only God could judge me. But like you said, I don't think I want God to judge me. I don't think I want that problem either. That's a serious problem if you really think about it. You know? And so, people suppress the truth, man.
We all gonna face it anyway, so you know. So I'm gonna live accordingly.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah,
but
so yeah, man. So they worship birds, bees, plants, like you said, trees,
the earth, the sun. So what do you think about worshiping Jesus Christ? Do you want to get into religion?
I mean that's up to you.
I mean, I'm good with it.
Like you could get.
I just want to know what you believe.
You could ask me. Like, okay, so I would say this, right? I would say, man, I have an understanding of scripture. I've studied theology. I've been around men that know how to exposit on scripture, and so I have been fascinated with theology. You know what I'm saying? But I don't want to sit here I don't want to kind of get into the Bible thumping, because that's not That's not how it almost in a sense works.
I don't even want a Bible thump. I just want to talk about
no. But I want no, because sometimes it could get, and it's not for that. I'm not saying you. You know what I'm saying? So because sometimes it can kind of get almost in a sense that way, because remember, you're talking religion here. You're talking Christ. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're talking a man that, you know what I'm saying. You speak boldly of him. You know, there's gonna be lash. You know what I'm saying? There's and you know, look at this, you know, this, you know, religion and this and that, you know what I'm saying? You know, and so I want to make sure that, you know what I'm saying, like, people understand that, you know, clearly, that if we are talking about certain topics, that, you know, I'm talking from a perspective that I can do this, open up that scripture and stay in the context of what we are discussing, you know what I mean? And I'm grateful for that ability and that blessing that the Lord has blessed me with, to be able to have an understanding on how to exposit on scriptures, you know, and talk about different doctrines and content and context, you know what I'm saying? And be able to cross-reference scriptures to make sure that when I'm talking about a certain topic, that I'm not just taking one scripture so that it could benefit whatever topic it is that I'm discussing. So, you know what I mean? So, like, just know that if you know, I can do that, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, and I don't want to get too deep, obviously, because hopefully we could get into some more of the other stuff that, you know, we've been talking about, being purposeful in the community and working with the immigrants and those things as well too, man. So, you know, people could kind of know that, you know, there's a lot, you know.
We could get into those questions at the end. I do want to ask you about
Christ.
No, I was gonna say the immigrants. We can go to that.
Yeah, or you can talk about. You could talk about. You have, if you have a specific question, yeah, bro. Bust it.
I want to know. So, you told me briefly that you were working with the Venezuelans coming into Chicago, providing them homes and stuff, a place to stay.
Yeah. So what we were trying, so I came alongside to work a project on the south side of Pilsen with a guy by the name of Rob, and came to, you know, obviously be able to support, you know, men being sheltered in a, you know, in an apartment, you know, or in a shelter, you know, and so it was great, man. It you know, it's been great because, you know, you get an opportunity to engage with individuals from a whole different culture, you know, from a whole different side of the world. And,
so they're coming from Venezuela?
9,000 miles. 9,000 miles.
So
did you get that?
Why? Yeah.
Yeah.
But not 9,000 miles. How? Did you hear anything about how?
Man, they showed me videos where they were going through safari rivers alongside crocodile, alligator, bro. They were touching certain plants that were getting them sick, giving them diarrhea. They were going through a lot of things, man, but they were traveling, man. They would walk miles, you know. If they could hitch a ride to a certain place, they would hitch a ride. Jeez. They would camp out, obviously, you know, and, you know, obviously had to come from Venezuela through Mexico or whatever the case may be, you know, and get into the United States of America, you know, then obviously come here and turn themselves in, because if they want to go through the process of being able to kind of, you know, go through what the U.S. is kind of doing right now with, you know, man, we could go so many ways with this, but, you know.
Why are they coming to Chicago? Because I haven't even been on social media, so I don't know. But why are they coming to the big cities? Why are they even coming to the United States?
Well,
what's that like? What's the reason?
Opportunity, man. You gotta, you know what I'm saying? You coming to a country where they have a better opportunity than being in a communist country where they're telling them you're only gonna make $5 a month, and then we're gonna give you a lump of.
I sound stupid. But like, you know, just doing what I do and being.
They're in a dictatorship, man. They come from a dictatorship, man. You know, I mean, they have certain type of freedoms and things like that, man. But I heard that they they make a certain amount of money a month, you know, and you can't make no more than that, you know what I mean? And that's just it, you know? And so, you know, think about that, man, living like that, being tired of that. They're starting to cut your resources out, you know, they're no longer feeding you and stuff like that, man. You're starting to starve. And so people are starving, man. People are going through it over there, you know, and it's been going on for quite some time, man. And, you know, obviously it's becoming a problem here now in the United States because, you know, the current president, you know, is allowing for, you know, the borders to, you know, to be open that way. You know what I mean? So it's not, you know, people are saying, why is it happening like this? Well, you know, those, you know, those that decided, you know what I mean, to vote that route, you know what I'm saying, are now seeing some of the consequences of that and how is it affecting the American, you know what I'm saying, as far as when it comes to their tax dollar, you know, because obviously they're, you know, they're
I've heard people are mad about it.
And so there's a lot that goes behind it because there's a lot of individuals too that would desire to be able to use those funds or those things. As an American, people talk about, man, there's a lot of homeless people here too, but a lot of people too also don't understand the homeless community as well, man. You know, people don't understand there's homeless people, man. I worked in the homeless community for over 7-8 years, man. So I knew what it was to engage with them and live life on life with them, things like that, and Lower Wacker Drive and, you know, all these bridges, you know, throughout the 2000s, you know, and know that, hey, man, these people don't desire to go to a shelter where they're almost in a sense going to be systematically dealt with, you know, people that are working there that are mistreating them. You know what I'm saying? They're not benefiting from that systematic things too, man. Some of these, man, I don't want to kind of get too deep into that, but some of these programs are not as resourceful as you think, despite that they're open doors for people. So a lot of these individuals that are staying in the Lower Wacker Drive in these tents, they rather stay there because at least they're still having the little bit of freedom that they still can have, and they rather have that than going into somewhere where they're going to tell them, hey, go to bed, go this, ate that. You know what I'm saying? So
the government does experiments on fucking homeless people before they do it, you know, to everybody else.
Right.
Like there's this thing called ID 2020 or something like that. It was like a digital ID, and their idea was that they were gonna try it out on homeless people first, give them this digital identity, and that'll help them like reintegrate into society.
Right.
But it's
but see that a lot of times too, man, because they're mistreated by staff, and they're not really being resourceful to them, you know what I'm saying, because obviously the staff is overwhelmed with work as well, you know what I mean. So it's a lot, man, you know what I'm saying. This is why it's so important, man, to be purposeful in what it is that you do. You're gonna go and take a city job, or you take a job and you just, you know, you go everywhere, you deal with people, you know what I'm saying. You see, like, man, why are you doing this job? You know, you go to restaurants, you know, you try to order food, and you're kind of, you know, you're just kind of trying to figure it out. They're getting mad at you because you ain't ordering real quick, you know, in the big cities. Yeah, because
I've never been here. Chill out.
Right, man. And so they start giving you attitude. You know, you go anywhere, man. You ever go to the DMV, you feel like you're going.
Oh my gosh.
You ever go to the DMV and they start treating you like you're being processed to be incarcerated? Like you're like, wait, what's going on here?
They're all so miserable at the DMV. There's not one DMV employee
that's why I'm saying, like,
ever came
why
across,
are you
bro.
doing a certain job that you're not going to be able to, almost in a sense, be resourceful in your community? I got to go to the DMV and get mistreated like I'm going to go to prison.
I feel like it's part of their job to fucking treat people like that, dude. Like, they purposely hire people like that, you know, just to fucking...
I don't get it, man. You just, you know what I'm saying? I don't get it, man. You got bus drivers, you know what I'm saying? You're running towards the bus. He sees you running, and then he just drives off on you. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's so many jobs that you could say that people do, or whatever the case may be. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of people that do jobs too, man, that they're amazing at what they do, man. You know, and they're functioning completely in their gifts, man. And you can tell, man, you know what I mean? You could tell, man, that they're helpful or they're resourceful, you know. And I think a lot of times too, man, is how you come across to people, man, you know, and are able to communicate with them to get them, you know.
My step grandmother Winnie always told me, she planted this seed in my head. She always said, if you're ever gonna like do something, do it to the best of your ability. So even though I fucking hate delivering fucking Amazon packages, like, I go out there and I deliver them, you know what I mean, bro? Like, deliver, fucking organize, presentable, You know, like I'm doing it to the best of my ability. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
And efficiently. You know what I mean?
Right. Of course.
But
because you still have to have integrity and honor in what it is that, you know, where you at right now. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, and I think sometimes we forget that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I forget that, and I'm guilty of that myself. You know, so you know, but definitely always do what you love, man. And not saying that music is obviously something that's full time, but, you know, obviously working with these projects, you know, with these immigrants, and, you know, being resourceful in the community, with, you know, working with the mayor of Broadview, and working with, GP out there on, you know, on the west side, you know, and them being very resourceful, you know, to the community, you know, has been a blessing as well. So, man, shout out to them, and them, you know, giving me the resource and things like that to be able to help, you know, these men at the shelter, man. Obviously now try to find a way to be able to function, you know, obviously in the way of the United States, you know, so they are going through the process of being, you know, documented, at least.
What's that process look like?
Well, I mean, right now, obviously, you know, they have, you know, they had to turn themselves in, and they have to get a certain document, and, you know, they get dates for courts and stuff like that. But in the process of that, you know, now that they have this certain ID number, you know what I'm saying? With that ID number, now they're able to start being able to become identified, you know, as at least, you know, opportunity to be able to work. And you know, you have a work permit, and with that work permit, obviously you'll have, you know, the ability to work here in the United States. You know, what you do with that, and obviously how you know, continue to evolve like that as a individual function in the United States. You know, I'm sure if the government already has allowed you to get an ID number and get at least a work permit and continue to work, you strive in that. Yeah. And I wouldn't see no reason why they wouldn't give you the opportunity to become a citizen somehow.
Better than starving in Venezuela.
Right. You know, I mean, they'll extend your time, or they'll do whatever. I don't have the full knowledge of it, but, you know what I mean? I mean, what else? Why would you start that process or give them that process if you're not going to give them the opportunity to function, you know what I'm saying, right, as a citizen in the United States of America? Huh. Does that make sense? Like,
yeah. Man, so do you think that do you think the opportunity exists for them in Chicago, in New York?
Well, I mean, you got to think about it. If they're taught properly, so if you put programs in these shelters, that, you know, instead of sending them out at 6 a.m., 5 a.m. in the morning to go find their own jobs where they're hanging out at Home Depot and trying to find out how they're going to get money, you know, I mean, think about it, man. You continue to starve, man. You start to have, you know, bad tendencies, you know what I mean? And that creates problems, man. And so, you know, if these people are not making the money that they thought they were going to come over here and make, you know what I'm saying? And they're still starving. And then, you know, they go into these shelters, and these shelters don't got certain type of, I would say, you know, resources to be able to help them get their documents properly as quick as possible. You know, so they can go in on their own. Cause I mean, there's a lot of programs, man. Once you get like a work permit and those things, man, dude, you know, you're getting all kinds of funding, man. There's programs out here. They're going to give you funding from all types of ways. So there's no way you're not going to have to eat. There's no way you're not even going to have cash. You know, there's no way that they're not even going to provide residency for you, man. There's programs out here that provide, you know, residency. And that's why a lot of Americans are like, wait, what, man? There's people out here that wish they had those programs. They're still sitting, waiting on certain programs, like what's that, Section 8 programs and things like that, trying to get low income housing and things like that. And they're not able to get it. But here you are housing, you know, all these individuals that are coming from across the border. But
so you get to see it from both sides.
Oh, absolutely, man.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So, you know, and it is crazy because it's like, that's what kind of God has me right now, you know, because I'll be honest with not, you know, if I could be blunt about it, like I'm not with, you know, I'm not with keeping them borders open, like just being real, like, you know what I'm saying? Because, you know, don't get me wrong, I'm willing to be resourceful because there's a problem. So if you're not going to be you're not going to be a solver, then, you know, so, you know, like, so you gotta be a part of the solution. You know what I'm saying? So they're like, oh, so that's why I do it, you know, because I have a passion for that stuff, you know. And
I feel like that is a position that God would put somebody in, though. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, you know, you don't want these open borders, but they're fucking open, and
Right.
these people are here,
Right.
and they need help.
Right. And you're the dude that's gonna obviously be able to say, man, you know what? I'm not in it for myself. You know, you got Venezolano people that are lawyers that are here, man. I encountered a situation, and you know what I'm saying, not to put them on blast, but man, you know, the dude wanted to charge them like $1,500 to do the documentation that I was already helping them kind of fill out myself for free. And I was like, man, listen, man, if y'all can't afford $1,500, come to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna do this for free for y'all, because I mean, if you're not gonna be resourceful to help them get what they need, you know, and that's another thing too, man. You know, it's you know. It's tough, man. It's tough for people to believe in what you're doing, man, and getting the support that you want, man. You know what I mean? Like, I wanted to put programs where you're doing activities with them throughout the day to kind of begin to start to give them that mindset to understand how to cultivate here in the United States, so that way they're functioning in ways where they can excel in the U.S. Why not, dog? Like, you know what I'm saying? Why not why not teach them an opportunity way? That's the U.S. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if you're thinking that you're going to come and you're going to control them, then, you know what I'm saying? That's a whole nother program. That's a whole nother thing. You know what I'm saying? And who knows? Yeah. I'm not here to be a conspiracy theorist or a debater of politics, man, and things like that, man. But I know that I do have certain gifts and certain abilities and certain passions and certain structures to my life where I know I could give a lot back to the community, as I have throughout a lot of years, man. Chicago Legacy Basketball Sport Developing Program, you know, won, you know, about 15 AAU travel basketball championships, coached men level, you know, basketball tournaments, and been very successful with that. Like, and it wasn't about being successful on the basketball court. It was about building relationships with men and young men, and being able to cultivate in their lives in a way where you will open up your life to them, and, you know, do life on life, because it wasn't only about, you know, saying, hey man, go shoot the basketball. You know, I felt that there was always something about knowing how to bring a team together and believing in something together, and, you know, having a vision and a purpose and a goal, and everybody being like-minded. Because if we all didn't jump on one leg at the same time, and one guy decided to say, nah man, I'm gonna run right here, then, you know what I'm saying, like, we wasn't gonna be a strong chain. You know what I mean? And you definitely always need to be a strong chain.
Would you say you have a similar goal with your music?
Absolutely. Like, I do, man. I do. And music is a little bit different, right? Because we're living in an era too with music where it's like, if you don't got to give or show a persona or show a certain visual to it, you know what I mean? You know, you're not going to be able to get something. But, you know, I think we're also living in an era too that a lot of people desire to have artists that are very creative with being, you know, to putting albums out, you know? I mean, man, you know, people are trying to, and I'm not saying nothing against anybody from Florida or drill or nothing like that, because I respect all of them, like, for real. But I think that we're also in an era where hip hop hasn't been at a point where it's been, you know, where it's financially, you know, there, you know what I'm saying? And that's just the reality, you know, and you got certain people obviously that are out there doing whatever. But so I think that being creative and trying to be structured that way, and trying to, you know, obviously get the right people to support you and get the right opportunities to put you in the right places. Obviously people will start to see, at least, man, he's trying to work towards something, like, you know what I'm saying, with music and trying to think like that. So I'm not trying to be here with the bling bling and the fashion, but I want to be creative with even videos and things like that, you know, and hopefully if those things open up, then they do, man. If they don't, then they don't. Do I want to cultivate towards them? I am, you know what I'm saying? And so I do want to, but I also do want to work with the right people, man. And I think I've shared that a lot with you. You know, I'm not an individual that somebody says, hey man, come to my studio, dog, and do this and do that. And I've had a lot of that, and I've had A&Rs and things, and I could open up messages where dudes have gotten mad at me because they thought I was cocky because I didn't jump at opportunities that they were bringing at me, you know what I'm saying? And so, you know what I'm saying, it's not about jumping at any opportunity that somebody may floss at you, man. You know, is about, you know, you also knowing who you are, you know, how you feel, and letting those opportunities continue to open as they do, man. So yeah, so that's what I would say about that shit. But it does take structure. It does take a lot of writing. It does take a lot of work. You know what I'm saying? And it does take time, man. And it does take some of your own money at least to be able to get to working with the right people, you know, for the right amount of everything. You know what I mean? So, you know, and so not to talk numbers and shit like that, but you know, I've been very fortunate to work with some people that I feel comfortable with, and obviously you being one of those men, you know, and so
appreciate that.
So you know, like I don't fuck with a lot of people, my dog, and I've had those opportunities, you know, and so but yeah, man. So but I'm grateful, man, to be able to have, like I said, this opportunity and shit, and be able to talk even more about that shit,
dude.
About music.
Hell yeah, dude. So you say you took a break from music, right? You said
Yeah,
you put it
man.
away for a bit.
Yeah.
What pulled you back to it? And how long was the break?
A long fucking break. Like, yeah, man, it's been a fucking long time, man. I mean, obviously I always sang and rapped and shit and always try to keep up with it and doing it. But I stopped because I, like, you know what I'm saying? At that time, you know what I'm saying? I was young and I needed to take responsibilities as a father that needed to be worked at. You know what I'm saying? I think now, obviously, I would say it's been a long time, man. I would say it's been about 20 years, 21 years. So it's been a long time, you know? So, but I feel that
he's still fine after 21 years.
Yeah,
he's not even he ain't even that rusty. He got
well, because I love music, man. I love music, man, and so I can hear what's out now, and I can fuck with it. You know what I'm saying? I can fuck what they doing, and you know, if I needed auto tune or whatever. But you know, man, it's whatever, man. Like, it depends on what we're gonna do with the music. You know what I'm saying? That's what being creative, and I think that's, you know, art that's been lost. You know, I'm just, like I said, man, I don't just want to fuck with drill. I want to fuck with, you know, tumba. I want to fuck with it all. Like,
oh God.
Yeah, hip hop and
cross genre shit.
Cross genre and mixed mastered bilingual. You know what I'm saying? Get on that shit.
Straight up good music.
Get on that shit. You know.
Oh God.
I mean, you got,
yeah.
Dude,
New York has a strong vibe right now.
New York.
Yeah.
Yeah.
New York got a strong vibe right now.
They got a lot of strong, man. New York has always had, but see, that's the thing, man. New York is a mecca of music, man. Like, you know, New York.
It's like a machine behind.
Yeah, New York is foundational of artists, dog. You go to New York, you'll find, you gonna find motherfuckers. I found motherfuckers in Florida that were from New York that doing shit that I'd be like, damn, you nice, famo. You got it, man. God willing, Lord bless you. You know, you keep putting your shit out there, and it don't matter, man. Listen,
what do you think
to me, I think sometimes too, a lot of people get lost in at least the fucking. Listen, man, if I get fucking 10 of y'all motherfuckers, you know what I'm saying? You know, just be like, damn, you know, and not even to be like, damn, your shit is raw, but like to listen to my music and shit, you know, that's a blessing within itself. I mean, I think that we lose that shit because, you know, and that's why I respect everybody's craft, man, because, you know what I mean? It's like, you know how much effort that man is making right now to put himself on a fucking microphone, you know what I'm saying, and try to spit some shit for you, you know what I'm saying, that you may fuck with, you know, and you know, and so that's why being creative is very important. Doing that. And to keep doing that shit, keep putting out, you know, and that's why now I want to be able to put at least, you know, 7-8 tracks out, you know, and man, I ain't finna give out the name of the album, whatever it may be, whatever the fuck you want to call it, a mixtape, an album. I just want to be creative with that shit and give you and you know, give a lot of taste of shit, and I don't know. Hopefully people fuck with it, you know, and you know, we got I know like
picking up on your shit, dude. You wait, so you were showing them, dude. You were showing them the music, and then your Spotify went up like 600%. Like what was it? It was like,
man, I can't even fucking I
think it went from like 6 or 8 listeners to like 680 some listeners.
Man, I don't know, man. I don't know what it was, but whoever them people were, like it, man, I don't know, man. I like I said, man, I've been, you know, engaged with these guys from Venezuela, you know, they've been very loving, you know what I'm saying? And they a lot of them still, you know what I'm saying? They're always constantly messaging me and things like that, you know, and but you know, there's people that are gonna fuck with your music and you don't know where it's gonna come from, right? And so like I'm first and foremost I'm grateful, but my shit did go from like I had like 8-9 listeners, and you know I don't really fucking promote my music like crazy.
It's hard
like,
to,
you know what I'm saying,
like,
right?
Where do you fucking even start?
Right,
dude?
exactly.
Like,
right.
Market.
That's why like 2 years ago when I did Nvidia and I did Mascara and I did War Ready, like I fucking like I was like, wait, hold up, man, it's gonna take like it'll take this fucking much money to stay up with this shit, you know. And I was obviously living in Florida and trying to fuck around in Chicago, and it was just a lot of shit that was just challenging. But at the same time too, man, you know, I kind of reverted back. You know, obviously too, a couple things did happen with my two sons, and I think that was another reason why I kind of took a step back, because I thought that, you know, at the time my sons needed, you know, again, their father, you know what I'm saying, because they endured some situations that you know caused, you know, them to react in certain ways that could have got them, you know, obviously in some deep shit. But both of them are doing very well now, man. I'm very grateful. Florida? No, one of them is in Florida and one of them is in the Carolinas, you know. But they're both good and shit. And they're both good now, man.
You be driving around the goddamn states, dude.
I do, man.
You drive or do you fly?
I do both. A little bit of both.
Yeah, dude. I've never.
I do a little bit of both, man. If I go west and shit, I'm definitely gonna fly. Like if I go west, I'll go definitely fly. But if I travel like from Florida, I bounce obviously from, you know, from all of that shit. I've been to Tampa, all of that, Orlando, the Miami's and shit. You know, all those areas, Hollywood beaches and shit, like all that East Coast. The furthest
I went, dude, me, Fofo, Lexi, while she was like fucking probably like 7-8 months pregnant.
Yeah.
Daniel, Joe, we all took my 2007 Hyundai Azura, or Lexi's car, and we drove to Atlanta.
Oh shit!
I drove like fucking 9-10 hours straight.
Yeah, that's what it's about. Yes,
to go see fucking Kanye Donda fucking thing. So we drove through like hella states and stuff. That's the most I've ever been like outside of like Chicago.
Yeah. Well, that actually Atlanta's on the way to Florida, so you'll always go through Atlanta. Their traffic is tough, man. And you know, but Atlanta got a big vibe too, man. You know, you know, Atlanta's a big
Atlanta
music.
Got a strong vibe,
you know, they got a big strong music. You know, shit. So
I feel like Chicago don't get the same type of love Atlanta, New York, and Detroit get.
I think
I guess I can't say that no more because Lil Durk, you know, he's super big.
But you know what?
Right
Let me
now.
tell you something, man. Florida fucks with Chicago hard. You know, I don't fuck with a lot of people from the north side and west side, and you know, all those sides from Jacksonville, and man, they love Chicago, man. They respect Chicago highly, you know what I mean? And it's been good to meet a lot of them peoples out there, man, as well, man. And they were always, you know, vibing, you know. But you know, it's like everywhere, man. You go everywhere, you know, you're gonna have good people that you tell them you from a certain place or whatever, they're gonna fuck with you, and they're gonna be other people that are gonna be like, you know, or whatever, man. But that's just life, man. You know what I mean? And you just gotta know how to maneuver through all that shit, man. And hopefully, you know, you don't get caught up in none of the bullshit, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So,
back to the religion thing, if you don't mind. Not necessarily religion, but just like just the Bible, the Bible.
Yeah, go back. Absolutely.
I wanna know. So, do you believe that Jesus is God? That's a heavy question, is it?
I mean, if
Christ is a heavy topic, I guess.
Man,
God is a heavy topic.
But that'll take you back into the, you know, that'll take you back into like almost doctrines of the Trinity, and they're long, man, and they're very, and they're very complex, man. You know, I think they take time to really study things like that, man. I think that those are situations where, you know, you really have to, you know, structure yourself to want to deep into the scriptures and find out, you know, hey, you know, is Jesus, that's a great question. Is Jesus Christ, you know, God? You know, I can sit here and say, Yeah, he is. And then you'd be like, hey, whoa. And, you know, and so we would have to get into depth of that. We would sit here for about, no lie, man, it would take about an hour. You know, you would have to eat food and because you have to get some food, chicken wings and stuff like that.
Because
and
that's
you
where
gotta feed
I'm at,
me,
dude. Because I'm like, I believe
it's a
in
very
God.
complex doctrine.
I believe in God, and I think religion is good, and I would tend more towards Christianity.
Right.
You know, I went to a church growing up. I even went to a Christian school, a Baptist Christian school.
Yeah.
So they believe in the Bible like word for word. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
And you know, that's just where I'm at. I don't know if Jesus is God. You know, I've seen verses where Jesus is like, "Don't call me great, or don't call me good. Nobody is good but God."
Right.
You know, so then I read that and I'm like, okay, well,
but you
Jesus
gotta
put God higher than himself.
Yeah, but you gotta keep reading, like, you know what I'm saying? So like you gotta keep reading and then going in the context, you know what I'm saying? Because remember, you know, Jesus came to represent such humility that he was gonna let you know that, hey, you know what I mean? Like, I don't gotta tell you. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, check this out, right? Like, think about this situation, like right towards the end, right before. You remember what was, man, I can't even give you his name right off the back. See, that's why I don't want to really get too deep, because then I had to start asking whatever the fuck her name is, and start asking for certain verses on the Bible. But when Jesus was when Barabbas, the situation with Barabbas.
Barabbas.
Yeah, Barabbas.
Barabbas.
You know? But Barabbas, you know, obviously was a criminal or whatever, and you know, who do you guys want? You know, Jesus or Barabbas? You know, and then in the situation before that, you know, my man had asked him. He says, "Oh, you say you're the son of God? You know what I'm saying? You say you this and that." He says, "I ain't say that. You said that." Because he knew. Like, my man knew he was, you know, but, you know, like, because he was a wretch and he was called.
I say all that to say, I've always wanted someone to like sit me down and be like, this is why Jesus is God. But I feel like if I need somebody to prove that to me, then I lack faith.
You gotta go to text, man, because it's very, very important, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's almost in a sense like, why would you believe me? Just because I have certain understanding of certain things, like, you know what I mean? Like, this is why studying and being a student is always very important. Like, you know what I mean? Because if you had those questions, just like I had questions, right? Like, my biggest always question was, when it came to the faith, was teach me what happened, what caused me to become this man that was going to be born separated from God. Where did that all begin? Like, right? Teach me this, like, teach me about this, and teach me why I'm going to need a savior, and teach me why, you know, those became my questions. So I went into tech. Obviously, like I told you, I ended up studying theology and being in some great programs where they really, really exposit on different doctrines, you know, throughout a certain period of time, throughout certain years. But
for me, the other big, sorry to interrupt you. For me, the other big question would be like, how is Jesus dying on the cross atonement for our sins? Like, why is it that? How is that like an even exchange? You know, like, it's just that never made sense to me.
That's why salvation is by grace, is a gift. You know. The gift of salvation is not something that you attain. You know, that's why you said, when did you become consciously aware? Well, obviously, because you weren't aware on your own accord, because you're separated, just the way Genesis 3 speaks, you know. So in Genesis 3, what happens is that obviously, you know, according to Genesis 3, you know, you have Eve and Adam that go drift off, and they go eat of a certain fruit, and Eve is deceived by the serpent according to scripture, and then she gives to Adam fruit, and he eats, and they both now have knowledge of good and evil. So now they go from pure to unpure, to the sense of having understanding of good of evil. So what happens to them right away? What they do right away is exactly right. As soon as it happens, they go hide.
Mm-hmm.
They hide in shame. Why they hide in shame now? Because now they have this understanding that what they did was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So when they get confronted by God, he doesn't come to Eve first. He goes to Adam first, because Adam obviously was the created first. And he says, hey, man, what's up? What happened? Yeah. Why old girl eat of this fruit, right? And so, and
God never told Eve not to eat it, by the way. God told Adam.
Right. He gave exactly. So they was your responsibility.
That's
exactly.
why God was like Adam.
Yeah, so that's why he was confronted first. So when he was confronted first,
I found that interesting.
Yes, and so but what's very interesting is the understanding of how he becomes a justifiable human being. He becomes an individual that now he's not going to agree, or he's not going to not agree. He's not going to confess to his behavior. He's going to justify his behavior. And that's very, very important for people to understand about who they are as people. Mm-hmm. Right then and there. It's like, wait, whoa, what's that mean? Well, he became a justifiable individual about his behavior because now he had understanding of right and wrong. So consciously, we spoke about this before, every individual has an understanding that there is a God. Why? Well, because God created him. Mm-hmm. God created him in his image. Why? To portray that image. That's why they have an understanding of right and wrong. So they're consciously on there, but they know right, but they also know wrong. So every individual is always trying to figure out, how to live their life to whatever desire fulfills them to make them feel accordingly happy.
I feel like, I don't know.
So in Genesis 3, God comes, right? So in Genesis 3, God comes and he says, hey, who told you were naked? Mm-hmm. Why did you eat of the fruit? And what did Adam say? He says, man, the woman that you gave me, he blamed the old girl. Mm-hmm. He didn't take responsibility, but it was his responsibility. Mm-hmm. Why? Because you just finished saying.
Yeah.
He was just finished saying.
God told Adam, not Eve.
God told Adam, not Eve. Hey, of that tree over there, you can't eat, bro. What was Adam doing then? What was Adam doing that he wasn't with his partner? That she went over there and, you know what I'm saying, got deceived. Mm-hmm. And so because of that situation, now they go and hide, and now God questions her, and he says, hey, who told you to eat of that? And she also became a justifiable human being, because she said
the snake.
She said, yeah, the serpent told me to eat it. So she, instead of taking responsibility for her behavior, after she knew already that he just asked Adam, mm-hmm. She just asked Adam. God just asked Adam, hey, you know what I'm saying? And he justified, he said, I blamed her. Uh-huh. She still went and said, well, it wasn't me either.
It was a snake.
Let me not take responsibility for this either.
Who does the snake blame?
Yeah, so most of the time when we do certain things, we don't take responsibility for them because we're ashamed of what we did and we know that it was wrong.
Yeah, dude, I think people like the hiding themselves is a good analogy or metaphor, because I think a lot of times people even blind themselves to their own shit. Like, I think their shit don't stink. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like they're just like, literally I had neighbors that smelled like shit all the time. Yeah. And they never showered. Yeah. But they could. Yeah. Like they could, but they just never did.
Well, there's some people that believe that if they put deodorants on or certain things, so they don't put it on.
Yeah, but oh man, that was just another analogy though. But people will sugarcoat things to sound better all the time. People will kind of like have this version of themselves in their head that's better than what it like really is. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know, man. I think you can fake it till you make it as much as you want. But at the end of the day, like, if you're not really looking at yourself in the mirror, I like to look at life in the sense of, like, when I look in the mirror and I take off my clothes and I'm like, man, dog, I want to develop that chest, or I want to hit the bicep. Like, I want better. Like, so there's ways of you dealing with yourself as a person as well. And I'll be the first one to say, this is why I believe in God and I have faith and I trust. And then, the crazy thing about it is that God says, man, if you have faith of a mustard seed, so he's only requiring for you to have a little bit of faith, and because he's already punking you, telling you ain't gonna have big faith like you think you do. You know, you don't really believe in me as much as you say you do, but you know, that's why I say, man, I believe in Christ and what he did on the cross. And that's the, you know, obviously the atonement for God. You're no longer having to bring, you know, doves and birds and bulls to the altar and sacrifice them so that God can see you honorable, you know, or repent, you know, or lambs or whatever as a perfect sacrifice, you know, so God don't see your blood, and sees the animal sacrifice. And, you know, God, you know, Christ becomes that perfect sacrifice now for man, and all he requires for you is to believe, you know. And obviously he draws man, bro. And I think in its time, you know, remember, you got to think about it, man. Scriptures say that, they say that every tongue will confess, you know, that Jesus Christ, you know, that Jesus is Lord, dog. So
see, the other argument against that is that Lord and God are two things, because they
depending
they use
on
Lord more as like a master,
and then
God
right,
more as,
and so and then that's why you also have to understand how to read context, you know, and understand in the content of where how Lord is being used, you know. Right. So I agree. No, I agree 100%. That's what I'm telling you, man.
Yeah,
I got no. Man, if I show you my apps, man, you'll see that I have different forms of apps that give me Greek, Hebrew, you know, translations into English. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so I have studied the Hebrew and the Greek, and then I don't speak it. You know what I mean? But you know, obviously, I do understand it based on the translations, and I do know how to use my Blue Letter Bible. You know, and like I said, man,
what is the Blue Letter Bible? I've heard.
It just brings different. You know, it just gives you cross references on scripture. It teaches you how to cross reference on scripture. Nice. You know, it makes you. It teaches. You know, it allows you to know how to stay in content of what it is that you're talking about. You know, kind of like right now. You know, you said, you know, is Jesus God and things like that. And so those questions, like if we were going to, you know, the Blue Letter Bible and type in a certain scripture, you know, where it would say, you know, if Jesus was God or whatever, then it would give you the content and detail and scriptures to back it up, where it would tell you, like, see, these are the different areas, you know, in the scriptures and in the Bible, and different, you know, in different books, obviously in the Bible, where, you know, it confirms to you that, you know, your question is either right or you know, yes, Jesus is God, or Jesus is not God, you know. So, you know, that's definitely something that you know, you have to get into. So, you know,
yeah, I want to. I got to spend more time just digging into that.
Man. And you know what? I think a lot of times people too, man, they get religion wrong, man. You know, when they come into church, all of a sudden they feel like, hey, man, I got to, you know, I'm this. I've been in church for 5 years, dog. I wear a suit. You know what I'm saying? I'm
oh God, I know a lot of those.
And so you know what I mean, and they forget who they really are before a holy God. You know, you forgot why you come into church and why you worshiping this God. And obviously this God sent his only begotten son to be crushed on a cross on your behalf, because you're a wretched individual. And a lot of times people don't like to teach those things or they don't want to teach that you're an imperfect person. Because think about it. If I present a church to you that's got PlayStation 4s and carousels outside in the front and elephant rides, you know, and I say, hey, Jesus, with a sprinkle, but you see all this entertainment, you know, would you come? You know, I'm giving out free coats and I'm giving out free groceries and I'm going to clean the front of your block, you know, and you see those things. To the eye, that's pleasing to the people, because a lot of times they don't see those type of resources coming from somebody or somewhere in their community. So obviously they got to be doing something, right? So it's a visual, right, to get your attention, to make you seek something, right? Yeah. But they never tell you about, hey, man, they got you in by good means, by enjoyment, entertainment. But they're not really telling you, hey, man, you know what?
Repent.
Yeah, I almost said
repentance is always my favorite.
Like,
message.
Like they're not telling you, hey, like you're a wretch, dude. Like you're imperfect. You know why you're struggling in life? You know why you deal with these things? Because you live this certain type of lifestyle. Yeah. Like you're a drunkard or and then they're like, oh man, look at how he's talking, like, you know, but it's the truth, you know. And I'm not here trying to say anything about anybody, because I'll be the first one to raise my hand. So, you know what I'm saying? You know, I'm not trying to not stick the finger. I'm just trying to make an outlook and people get an understanding of that outlook, you know? So it's like, you know, so imagine if I just straight up told you, like, nah, man, this is what the word says, dog. Like, we just need to grow and trust God and repent, bro. You keep repenting and asking God to give you strength to overcome, you know, some of these desires that you were having at one time that you feel were keeping you separated from God. Period. Whatever you feel is keeping you separated from God is because you know that there's something there. I don't got to pinpoint it. I don't give a shit. Like, you know what I mean? I just keep it real because I don't want to be super religious. I think understanding relationship and how people really walk. This is why Facebook is tripped out. You know, you try to talk to somebody sometimes and, you know, they think that you're this persona based upon what it is that you post, but they don't walk with you. They don't talk with you. They don't really ever get a chance to truly know who you are. And I get it, man. There's people out there acting crazy. You know what I mean? So I definitely understand that you got to keep your guard up and protect yourself at all costs. You know what I mean? But at the same time too, I guess obviously that's not the proper point to try to get know someone. But at the same time too, it's like, these are all different resources that everybody has to engage with individuals. You know what I mean? And so, I mean, I guess you do what you do and people learn and grow as they go along as well with those things too. But, you know, social platforms is everything now, like almost in a sense, you know, that's why we're doing a podcast.
Yeah. Social media is like a filter on life for real. Cause it's like, I feel like Instagram and like Facebook is like almost like a highlight reel of people's lives. And it creates this like false, kind of perception of how people's lives is. And it makes tons of people jealous and envious. You constantly compare yourself to everybody else's, the parts that they're putting out of their life, mostly positive ones and stuff. Yeah. Selfies with fucking filters on it where they photoshopped it, you know. And it creates more of a divide than it brings us together a lot of the times. Yeah. Even though bringing us together is like the point of it. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's what me and you are both here to do, is just fucking bring people together, like-minded people together, and kind of lead and guide us all to like a better life. Kind of like a promised land, but not like not really a promise. Well, we might not be the people to get there, but generations, you know, after us, like we will have planted the seeds, right, to where they could, you know, be at this place. You know, but I want to bring us from under the pharaohs, like when Moses brought his people out from the control of being enslaved by Pharaoh. He brought them into the wilderness. You know what I mean? I want to take us. I feel like me and you and people like us are here to take us from enslavement to the fucking wilderness. You know what I mean? And the wilderness isn't going to be fucking easy. You know what I mean? But it's promising in the future for generations to come and shit. You know what I mean? Yeah. And no, you're right, man. I believe that there is a calling for laborers to cultivate in life in a purposeful way, where they're, you know, understanding how to be truly genuine, man, like for real, like, you know what I'm saying, like being real, like, and I think we lose that, and you know, a lot of shit gets misconstrued as well, like, you know, and like you said, man, there's because we are like these imperfect individuals. I'm sure, man, I've looked at certain things that probably was like, oh, that shit's whack. You know, or whatever, but that's just human nature, you know what I'm saying? But definitely always trying to, you know, not have those kind of fucking views, you know what I mean? Obviously, you know what I mean? Because, you know, if you're not growing, man, then what the fuck you doing? Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you're not growing or you're not evolving, you're not, like you said, you're not changing, you're not really being purposeful and what it is that you're doing, you know, and you know, just obviously trying to find the best of you, and you know, and use it to, like I said, you know, in those gifted ways that you have, you know, to get, you know, help others, like you said, man, do for others, you know. And I'm about that shit, man. I've been in situations where I've needed, and I know that at the end of the day, still God got me if nobody do, you know what I mean? And so obviously having that faith is important, right? Because at the end of the day, if money don't do for you, like, remember, if you know, don't allow your happiness to depend on anything you may lose. If you don't got it, it's gone. You know what I mean? Already. So, you know what you're going to depend your joy and your peace and your happiness on, you know? And so I think that when you finally come to that, and I think a lot of people do come to that, man, so they don't let shit come to them and bother them. You know, girls are very big on shit like that, you know, like, man, I'm unbothered. I'm healed. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm in a better place. You know, I'm stronger as a woman now.
I let a man, and you see a lot of that on social platforms, man. You see a lot of broken women talking about shit that dudes left, did or whatever, and we all guilty of that shit. We men.
Yeah. So what? As we're nearing the end of this podcast, what would you say, you, El Guapo, J Aldana, what do you value most in this world or out of this world? What's at the center of your fucking everything?
Man, God, obviously, bro. First and foremost, faith, man. Believing and trusting, because with that comes everything, man. What do I value? Obviously, man, my family, because that's, obviously second, just the way God formatted. There's a structure to who you are and a believer, and how, what you hold on to. So, you know what I mean? Obviously, like I said, God, faith, and family. Do
you got third place?
Yeah, man. Obviously, my gifts and my abilities, which is work, you know what I mean, and then community.
I think we have the same top three.
Yeah,
top three values.
Because look, like I'm, it's like God, family. You know what I mean. Obviously, God is gonna use me to be able to be effective in my family, the best of my ability, and I'm sure at times my kids think I suck. I ain't gonna lie, but at the end, that's part of being a father, and growing and being real about being a father. Any father that tells you, I'm the greatest dad in the world is bullshit. Like, and don't get me wrong, you're a greatest dad to your kids because they're still gonna think you're great at the end of the day, even though you failed them. Because your kids love like that, and especially when they're young. Yeah. But second, obviously is like, because of who you are, you have family and you have to work. So what are we working at? We're working at being purposeful first and foremost, and what we're gifted at, whatever that may be. I have different gifts and abilities that I feel that I'm pretty good at, speaking and encouraging and motivating. Part of being a trainer was one of the qualities I've worked with in education, so I've always been a part of being in the lives of young adults, you know what I mean? And then, obviously working throughout the community for all those years. So all those things are purposefuls and gifts that I was able to develop and establish. So I do value those, and music is obviously one of those gifts as well. You know what I'm saying? So, being able to use those gifts and those things are all things that I value, and in that you're able to be impactful in the community somehow, and so, everybody has, like I said, their gifts, and we all work differently in the body, not everybody's the head, One of us have to be the arms, some of us have to be the legs, But
it's got to be a body.
There's got to be a body for sure.
Not everybody's got to be.
Yeah, because who the fuck, I ain't Iron Man yet, though. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to be on, but
you're like a swole arm. You're swole, dude. You hit the gym, bro, right?
I'm leaning
constantly in the gym, bro. I see you fucking always on social media, fucking in the gym, bro.
Yeah, so definitely part of the lifestyle. You heard?
Hell yeah, dude. Yeah, so. All right, so unless you want to talk about anything else, I got like one more question.
Yeah, man. Shit, man, you could kind of finish up the music topic and shit, where like you came back 20 something years ago and now you're trying to, or we talked about that shit, right?
We talked about it. Yeah. Let's putting together a mixtape.
Yes, sir.
It's coming in the works.
Yes,
we just
sir.
worked on No La Quiero.
Yes, sir.
It's coming together, guys. It's coming together.
Yes, sir.
Any plans 2024?
Yeah, man.
Music wise?
Yeah, man. Hopefully work with the right people and get the right visuals out there for the people to enjoy and shit and vibe to, but finish obviously the rest of the project, and hopefully, try to drop the project, late March, probably early April, I ain't got no set dates, but I am gonna drop, a single out, and hopefully for the new year, and put that out there and try to get a visual for it as soon as I can for it as well, and get it out there for the people too, and then start trying to just put the mixtape, finish the mixtape as quick as I possibly can, and if I could get it out before even then, hopefully be able to give it to them for the end of, February, beginning of March. So depends, life is crazy, dog. So, I'm not fucking, J. Cole, at status, or anything like that. So, we're at the humble stages, brother, just trying to work and obviously work with the right people and get the fucking music out.
Oh God.
So, yeah.
Man, I appreciate you being here. Something to the youth, man. How old are you?
48.
48. Hey,
A young 48. Yes, sir. 21.
48. It's never too late. Anything to young people out there that kind of looking at themselves in the mirror. You know what I mean? Like you said earlier, and don't know exactly how to move forward from that point. Any advice you would give to those people?
Man, really, really ask yourself. You know what I'm saying? Ask yourself. Who am I? What do I really, really love to do? You know what I mean? And obviously not let that be what everybody else is doing. You know what I mean? And so just because it's popular, I want to do what's popular. If you got a gift, man, and brothers are gifted in so many different areas, and women too, man. You know what I mean? And so this goes for, I guess, obviously for both all the young, so it's like, find out what you love, cultivate it, learn how to cultivate towards it, and know that it's going to take consistency, like planting a seed in a farm. You know what I'm saying? You plant a seed in the farm, and if you don't water it and nourish it and care for it every single day, 7 days a week, you know what I'm saying? And, you don't stay attentive to it,
what suffer for it.
Yeah, what type of plant you think you're going to produce? And then also always understanding too, am I planting the right seed in the right season? You know what I'm saying? And I think that's where we're all always challenged at, because sometimes we could plant a seed in our life, whatever that seed may be, and this should be all across the board, right? Family
season right now,
right? Work, you know what I'm saying? All those things we talked about, you know what I'm saying, that are essential in life, and know how to water them, because it takes work. Everybody's gonna sweat from their eyebrows to be able to eat, and if you ain't, embracing that shit, then you're gonna fail all the time. You're gonna be sitting doing I don't know what, but you know what I'm saying, twirling, but you embrace what you do, man. Embrace what you're gifted at, and really truly cultivate it. And if it's three things, then cultivate on all three shits of it, and figure it out, right. Despite how hard it is. And we're not all perfect at it, but go for that shit. What you got to lose, you only motherfucking miss the shots you don't take. Okay. I learned that from Wayne Gretzky.
Shout out Wayne Gretzky.
You know what I'm saying? Wayne Gretzky.
So, in conclusion, y'all, figure out what fucking season it is. All right? Figure out what seeds are available to plant in that season, and pick you a couple seeds and cultivate those seeds and fucking grow them. If you're picking a marijuana seed, you don't want to grow no Reggie. You know what I mean? You don't want that shit to come out bunk. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
You want to grow that Zaza, which means you gotta love your plant. You gotta love that seed. You gotta cultivate it. You gotta spend time. You have to suffer. You have to love that thing, baby. Thank you for tuning into the Hubcast. I'm Anthony. Thank you, J Aldana, for coming.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Anything else you want to say?
Nah, it's been a pleasure, man. Thank you, man. Thank you for the opportunity, man. I pray that all goes well, man. And man, people, fuck with us and love us. You know what I'm saying? And that's it. So shout out to you, brother, for sure.
Thank you, bro. Shout out to you. Everybody, go ahead and check out his music. He's got music on Spotify. I'm gonna link it in the bio. I'm gonna have all the cover arts right here. Fucking go check it out. You won't regret it. It's like actually good. People always say, hey, go check out my song, go check out his song. It's not good. This is not the case in this scenario.
Appreciate that, man.
This guy is fucking raw, dude. Everybody knows it. So,
my man, thank you.
Go listen to him, yo.
J Aldana music. Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you for tuning in. Circumcised or uncircumcised, you're all beautiful people.